Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. Jared here with another review from Fanboys Forever. Today we'll be having a look at the brand new Super 7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ultimates Donatello. Now this does complete the 4 turtles, and I'm so excited to finally complete the team. Of course, the Ultimates line does something very different than the NECA movie and cartoon lines and many of the other Turtles lines out there today. It attempts to replicate the original Playmates toys, and so it's trying to look like those old sculpts. As a matter of fact, we'll go ahead and show it now. This is the original toy head that the figure comes with, and we'll be taking a much closer look at it later along with its vintage counterpart. For now, let's go ahead and just admire what Super 7 has done. With each of the 4 turtles, they have included kind of a modern update. This is the 4 Horsemen's sculptural take on a modern update of those original figures. As you can see, it has so much great detail in it, and I love the more stoic expression, which is much more of a callback to kind of how Donatello appears in the comics quite a bit. And we'll take a closer look at that head sculpt. It just looks so great and reminds me of some of that great old Jim Lawson artwork from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the old comics and back in the day, and I just think it looks wonderful. Moving on down, we can see that he has the bandolier right across his chest, and I'm really liking the extra kind of added textural detail this time around. It does feel a lot more thin than the other harnesses have, but maybe that's just because there's more of it, and it feels slightly looser too, which I don't necessarily mind because, as you can see, as I jostle it around, it doesn't really go anywhere, so it's not like it's a problem. Moving on down, we have his little logo here, which isn't on quite as well as previous Turtles have had it. I'll probably have to put a little dab of glue on there because I was kind of fooling around with it earlier and it just unplugged right out because the glue wasn't very firm in there. But I'm sure that'll depend on your sample. We have the muscly arms here and the fingers, which each of the turtles, it appears, has a different manicure artist, I suppose. Moving on down, we have the legs and the pads, and then we have his pedicure there with some very kind of deep murky green for those nails. Moving on to the back, you can see that we have the shell, and it's done in more of a kind of dark emerald, and then we have the bandana tassels here to the side. The body is pretty much exactly the same as the other turtles that we've seen in the line. It's just the head sculpt and the accessories and paint that have changed. Let's not wait any longer. Let's go ahead and get the other 4 turtles out here with him. And here we finally have assembled all 4 Ninja Turtles from the Ultimates line. Of course, with this configuration, I have all 4 of them using their brand new head sculpts that are more the revisionist style. I'm really loving the look of all of them together like this, and I think it was really hard to see like the vision for these new sculpts until you put them all together. I think now, once you have them together like this, you can kind of see where the 4 horsemen were going with it, and I think it just looks fantastic. So this was a really nice surprise to see it turn out this great with all 4 turtles with these new head sculpts. I love it. And here they are all together with their old original head sculpts, and this looks terrific too. This is definitely one of those cases where it's really getting a little more murky to me about which ones exactly that I consider to be the primary head sculpts. Of course, when I first started collecting these, I was absolutely convinced that these were the primary head sculpts and that these were really supposed to be throwback figures to those original Playmates toys. But the longer and the deeper I go into this, the more I'm liking those revisionist head sculpts. However, more than likely, I will be still seeing this as kind of updates as those original figures. But hey, why choose one? And out of absolute pure laziness for not wanting to have to get my old Donatello out of the drawer, here is a picture of the original, and as you can see, this is a really, really great match for that original figure. This head sculpt is, of course, the perfect modern update. It's very well captured, and I think it's tremendous what they did. Of course, the only thing, and I've pointed this out before in previous reviews, is this guy has way more of a neck. And that seems to be the case with pretty much all of those old Playmates figures, which a lot of the time seem to be neckless. Let's go over articulation really quick. Of course, we know mostly what to expect with these guys by now. The head can go up and down a really good amount. I feel like Donatello can do a little bit more than the other guys could. And then it can kind of go side to side and have some really good like head cocking motion. Of course, you can turn it all the way around. Over here at the shoulders, they go up above 90 degrees, which is nice. Then you can put them pretty much all the way down to the side of the shell. You can bring them all the way around like this. There's a swivel at the bicep. There is also a swivel at the elbow. He does have a single joint, but it's okay. It's almost 90 degrees. I guess that's acceptable. Over here at the wrist, it can go around, and there's a hinge, and there's plenty of alternate hands with the same kind of articulation. Moving on down, you can see that we actually have a little bit of a interior kind of rotation in there, as it can go side to side. It's like a hinge, and this is just soft plastic that you can, like a rubbery piece, and you can see that it's kind of a separate piece in there. And so that gives you a little bit of forward and a tiny little bit of back, but it's not very much. Here we have a rotation, and these are just ball jointed hips, and there's some hinges right there. You can get really good splits. You can go this far out with a kick, which I think is really good. And then there is a slight single joint here, which just gets you maybe barely 90 degrees. I wish it went a little further. Then there's a rotation at the knee. There's a hinge, and there's some excellent ankle pivot, meaning you can get incredibly wide stances like this. But I want you to see something. I want you to see it again. I'll try to get my wide stance here. I'm posing. See? This, and I've heard many other reviewers talk about this, and I've never been bit by it quite as bad as I was here with Donatello. This is as floppy as it gets. So loosey-goosey right here, and it's so disappointing. Just the build quality just wasn't there this time around, and so I'm not really sure what happened, and I think it happened to a lot of other people, and I suppose I just kept getting lucky when it came to not having that. Now I can work around it. This leg is a lot more stable. You can hear that as it kind of has more friction to it. This one, not so much. You don't hear that as much as I kind of twist it. Clearly, I'm going to have to go in and use my old usual methods where, you know, I take some glue and put in there, take some of the furniture, floor stuff that I use, and I'm probably going to have to fix it up if I can get it to an acceptable level. If not, I'm going to have to get a replacement, because that's crazy. So it really does put a damper on completing, you know, the original 4 turtles. Definitely something to be on the lookout for. Don't know if it's particularly worse with Donatello, or if it's just, you know, a luck of the draw kind of thing, and I was just getting lucky before, or what. But it is a disappointment. Moving on to accessories, you can see that he gets not 1, but 2 bow staffs. So if you want Donatello to wield 2, it's a great thing to be able to have. On the back, it appears that the holster is more aimed to just hold 1. And you can see that you can just put it through there, and it fits fairly nicely. And he looks great with it on his back. So technically you could have it to be like he's storing 1 and holding the other, maybe. I have no idea if this will work. I've not even tried it yet. Maybe you could get really creative here, and you could have 1 going like this, and you could take the other and kind of try to have them side by side. It's really tough though, because they're kind of competing with each other, and they're not really meant to do that. But technically you could if you really wanted to. So I'm just putting it out there as an option. Once again, you get the accessory that I'm never, you know, too crazy over or anything, but it's the old weapons tree or weapons sprue, whatever you want to say here. My luck varies with these about how well they can stand on their own. They're supposed to have this little, you know, kind of stand area, but for me, this one isn't really working out. You might be able to, and when the moon is full and the wind is still, you might be able to get this to stand just perfectly, but that's not happening for me. I don't really care too much about these. I mean, it's cool for people who liked that on the original figures, but I mean, it doesn't mean much to me. You do get a fun assortment of extra ninja weapons, and the other turtles came with these as well. These are, of course, meant to be painted representations of what's on the tree. You get a couple of throwing stars, because of course you're going to need some throwing stars. As noted earlier, but of course worth seeing again, is the superlative alternative head. And for this release, you know, I may really prefer this alternative head. I gotta say, it's awfully impressive. I'm gonna switch it back right now. Of course, you get several alternative hands, and they can all hinge, so that's cool. You get a piece of pizza, so you can join this with your other pieces of pizza from the other turtle releases. We get a closed turtle communicator, and I really like the color scheme they went for this time. It's a lot more subdued and muted, and I think it looks really nice, and it's painted well. And we get an open turtle comm. Like I said, I'm liking the color choices. Paint turned out pretty good, fairly straight there. We'll turn it around here, and it looks nice from that angle as well, so like that. And here's Donatello alongside his wave mates for Wave 4 of Ultimates. Little sign of things to come back there. What can I say overall about Donatello? I love everything sculpturally about this figure. I think he just looks fantastic alongside the other turtles. The alternative head is probably as strong as we've ever seen from one of the alternative portraits. Seeing them all together really does give a special kind of magic for this release. However, the quality problems have never been more prevalent when it comes to loosey-goosey joints. I easily fixed it with a little bit of my usual methods, but I'm not about showing you a figure I've doctored up and giving you some kind of false representation of it. These figures are getting much more expensive with every release, and these, I believe, and it seems like I always get prices wrong in every review, but I believe these are $45 a pop. At least they were for this wave, and I think those prices are going up in the next couple of waves, for waves 5 and 6. So it's a real shame to see the prices skyrocket like that. If Donatello had had better quality control with the joints, I definitely would have been more apt to say that it was worth that kind of price. But unless you get one that you don't have to doctor up yourself, I don't see $45 of value there. He does come with all sorts of great accessories, and he has the alternative heads and all of that. And the packaging, you know, the packaging, it's huge, it's gigantic, but it's mostly empty. So I definitely feel like this would be more at home at like a $35 price tag. I think that would be a lot more fair for what you're getting. I used to give a lot more of a pass, but you know, seeing how that they've just not come very far in terms of quality, in terms of the sturdiness of those joints. It's not like anything broke or anything like that, but you just want to have a better tactile experience with your figure. So definitely quality-wise, disappointment. Sculpt and design, definitely fantastic. So I really love Donatello. I know that if you have the other three, it's not like you're going to say, well, 3 turtles is enough. No, you're going to get the 4th. Hopefully you'll have better luck than I did with some of the quality, but I really enjoyed them despite that. Alright friends, be sure to give the video a like if you feel we deserve it. Of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around because we are going to be reviewing the other figures in the wave very soon. Sooner rather than later, I do believe. And hopefully you've enjoyed the one that we did today. Don't forget, we have plenty of Masters of the Universe content and Lego content coming up on the channel. I don't believe in boxing the channel into just one type of thing, so we do all sorts of different things here on Fanboys Forever. So be on the lookout. G.I. Joe stuff, you name it, anything's possible. Of course, I just want to say God bless you and yours, and I hope you all have a great day. As always, I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Fanboy out.